Hey everybody, Brian here. It's mid-March. I think this might be the first trip I've made to the lease since the end of the season. We've been having pretty good snowstorms off and on. We actually had a big one Saturday. I got like 6+ inches back home. I think we got 4+ here as far as I know, but it was 50 degrees yesterday, close to 40 the day before, and then today it's like gonna be pushing 60. So as you can see, all the snow's gone. So got a day off, so I figured I'd come out here and take a walk, see what's going on, do some quick scouting and shed hunting. Normally when I'm shed hunting, I get caught up in scouting and forget about looking for sheds, so we'll see what happens. But this is the northern piece of our test farm. This chunk is just about 20 acres or so. Just one property in between this and the main 134 acres. This is a quad trail that I started cutting in last year. Gonna try to finish it. See the opening there? It's the neighbor's driveway. Just trying to make it easier access for us to get back in here with a machine if we need to pick up a deer. Flat spot up here, then this drops down into a ravine. May open up the timber here for a wildlife cut or food plot. We'll see how that goes. So just wanted to bring you guys along while I take a look around, and I'll keep you posted. Okay, so what we have here is a south-facing slope. It goes down into this drainage, and this ridge comes out to a point here and drops off. Found a single bed, pretty worn down to the dirt here. You can see the lots of deer hair in there. There's a track. Doesn't look like a big track, but it's interesting because it's a single bed. I don't see any other beds on this point worn down to the dirt like that. But just an example, especially this time of year, they're laying on these south-facing slopes to get the sunlight. And on the point where a ridge comes down, pretty standard. Nothing to get super excited about. I see a couple of really nice old historical rubs, but nothing right here around this bed. So interesting to note, but nothing to get too excited about yet. So what are we looking for exactly? Most of you seasoned guys know the answer to that. We got some newer hunters and some newer habitat managers that may not understand what we're trying to accomplish out here post-season scouting. Two of the easiest things to see this time of year are rubs and scrapes, but you have to know which ones to pay attention to and which ones not to. There are random rubs and random scrapes that get made at night, different places. You can quickly discover which one of those that you shouldn't be paying attention to. For instance, let's say you see a line of rubs going through the woods. That could tell you that's a travel pattern for a buck that he's going to and from bedding. If you know a food source and you see a rub line going towards that, you could even tell direction. If he's heading obviously this direction, everything on this side of the tree is going to be rubbed. Not always guaranteed, but that's one thing you want to pay attention to, is solid rub lines that you can substantiate with a second piece of information, like I said, a food source or a bedding area. Another thing of rubs that you could pay attention to is a cluster of big rubs. Like I was showing you that ridge point bedding. If there was a cluster of big rubs on that point there, and that bed worn down to the ground, and some big tracks, single bed worn down like that, you could probably bet that that's probably a mature buck bedding there. But you have to have those different pieces of the puzzle to put together, like a signpost rub. And I'll show you one that we have on the south part of the lease here when I get over there. High travel area, lots of deer trails coming together. If you see a rub that's being used year after year, and it's usually a big one because they're working the whole tree around it all the time, just like scrapes. Community scrapes, the bigger the better. You want to back that up also with some secondary information, like a high travel area. If you've got terrain features or multiple deer trails coming together and there's a big community scrape there, that's something to pay attention to. One on a field edge that might have been made by a buck at night and never touched again, obviously that's not what we're looking for. But just pay attention to that stuff. It's really easy to see this time of year, and it can help you put the pieces of the puzzle together. Use your mapping app, mark those spots, and you could look on later on. You could sit down and look with your topo overlays and see how the terrain works, and you can kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together that way. It's not always 100%, but that'll get you in the right direction. And then boots on the ground like we are now, and even in season scouting. So it's a big puzzle to put together, but the more time you spend out here, the better you're going to get at it. So give that a shot, and hope that helps you out. Another tip while you're out here, it's important to slow down. I have to tell myself that all the time. Take a few steps till you can see quite a bit of ground, and just stop, look around, look for those rubs, look for those scrapes, an antler. This multiflora rose that's covering our lease helps me slow down a lot, so I got that going for me. But getting pretty thick in here. But yeah, just slow down, take your time, try to learn as much as you can, pay attention to the trails, the terrain, and everything else that I mentioned. And like I said, the more time you spend out here, the more information you're going to get, and that's just going to make you a better woodsman. It's just crossing this little wet spot here, this little drainage. Jumped a woodcock, scared the crap out of me. Cool to see though. Their numbers have been hurting, so pretty excited to see 2 in the last couple of weeks. Saw one in West Virginia on a client's property that I was walking, and just jumped one up here on the lease. It just took off, flew right over this way. So pretty cool. Wish I'd have had the camera ready, but you know how fast those things are. I hope I got that. He was just cutting across that opening as I was zooming in. Not cool, man. Well, make that 3 woodcocks in the last 2 weeks, and number 2 on the day. Sitting right here. I literally took out my phone to respond to a text message, and the thing jumped right up after I was standing here for a few seconds. Anyway, pretty cool. I like to see those guys around. So right before I jumped that last woodcock, I was just complaining about these old logging operations. You could see the 2 ruts here, and the woods are pretty tore up. I mean, this was done a long time ago. You can see this is a pretty young forest here, but at least one of the benefits is it makes some of these pockets of water. So you do have diverse life being supported, like the woodcock and salamanders and things like that. So it always amazes me how nature takes something bad and turns it into something good. So just think about that next time you're stressing about some things on your property that aren't perfect or don't look perfect. Sometimes they're perfect for species that we're trying to help. Okay, maybe I'll quit giving you updates on every woodcock, but I just jumped the third one. That second one flew way that way, so I know it wasn't that one. So this is just, you could see behind me and all around me is just marked with low spots of water. Young forest, perfect habitat for woodcocks, obviously, but I'm really having a good time just seeing them. This made the whole trip, so I'll check back with you later. There's an oldie. I've been there a few years. I don't know what the deal was with that strap and paracord on there. I guess that was their way of keeping that steady. Obviously a gun stand looking down over this drainage. You can see this is all grown up thick, but looks like the top of an old ladder stand there too. So pretty popular spot for hunters of old. Just an absolutely beautiful day here at the test farm. 60 degrees. Forecast says it's going to 65. I'm down into the t-shirt here. And just wrapping up my time on this north piece. And I put a lot of time on here. Kind of what I suspected from the camera data that we have here. It's not really a buck bedding area. Lots of doe sign, lots of different ages of deer poop, from old to super fresh tracks. I think this is mostly doe bedding in here, but that's why you get out here and put boots on the ground and try to learn all this stuff. So I've got one more corner to check down where we had a feeder, and there was some good scrape activity there, which was expected around the food source of that feeder throughout the fall. So maybe we'll find a shed or something there. I haven't seen any sheds. Not that that's unusual. I'm horrible at finding them, but not surprised if this isn't really a area that's holding bucks. Obviously, you're not going to find sheds. So I'll keep you posted. So earlier we talked about things to look for, and I mentioned that the scrapes and the rubs are easy to see this time of year. If you're fortunate to be in a place with some terrain, you can see this is pretty steep here. Hopefully that comes across through the lens. Deep drainage here. Obviously no deer trails going up and down that steep slope. Obviously they will if they have to, but they're like us, they want to take the easiest route. So that doe, what I think was a doe bed that I recorded earlier, is up on that ridge there. You can see as you get to the points, this is a lot less steep, and these couple ridges come together here. That's where you're going to see the deer sign concentrated. Same with that crossing that I found at the head of this drainage. Just some points to check out. Check both ends of those steep ridges like that. See where the trails are concentrated, and you might pick up some deer sign there. And like I talked about before, just having several things to put the pieces of the puzzle together. You know, if you've got three or four good pieces of sign coming together in one spot, that's a spot you want to mark and keep an eye on for future reference. So just something else to think about. So a quick example of what I was talking about before. As we're getting closer to a food source, in this case, not sure if you could see that feeder that we have. Two scrapes right here. They're a little bit covered up. It's been a few months, but you can still see them. Look completely different than everything else around them. And then when you got a overhead branch shredded like that, there's no question of what you're dealing with here. But like I said before, you're going to see that as you get closer to the food source where the does are. Buck activity, buck sign, and scraping is going to pick up. So just something to think about while you're walking through and taking note of all this. These were pretty small this year. We just put that feeder in. So, you know, could this turn into a community scrape? Sure. Obviously it's not yet. So I'll keep an eye on that and go from there. So this feeder's in a pretty isolated area. There's not much around here. We're quite a ways from the main road. Neighbors way up over that ridge. Not too much human traffic. They did do some logging. If you can see that down tree right there, that's the end of our property. There's a logging road that goes down that hill. That was about the only human pressure and sign that we'd seen in here. But just to give you an example, I wanted to say feeding and baiting during the season is legal in Ohio. So we don't really hunt over feeders. Every once in a while you'll get a crazy mature buck that'll fall in love with the feeder and come in regularly during daylight. Not often. We don't put a lot of stock in that. It's just a way to help us keep deer on this property because all the neighbors have feeders out too. That's just the way it is. Like I was talking about, as soon as you get close to the feeder here, you can see the sign picking up. That looked a lot more impressive in the fall. It's kind of healing up now, but that was fresh. There's a couple more rubs back there. If I swing back through there, I'll get some footage of it. But yeah, I mean, you guys know how it goes. The does are in here feeding and the bucks are gonna come in and make sign and keep checking the scrapes and making rubs around the food source. So, and that goes for acorns if you're in the big woods, or feeders if you have them, if it's legal, and any other natural browse, of course. The other thing too, when I was talking about the terrain, that even works in flat ground too. You're gonna have pastures with fences, fence corners, fence gaps, transition areas where thick woods meets open fields and things. Basically just real simple scouting things that you're looking for. You guys know most of this, but I'm just rambling on for some of the newer people that might be watching. So yeah, just stuff to pay attention to. And I'm just about ready to wrap up this north piece, and I'll keep you posted. It's one of our Exodus render cameras. This one's got the solar panel on it. Come around here. You see it catching a good bit of the sun. First year we've used the renders. Super impressed with them. Always been impressed with our Exodus cameras. Their quality is second to none. I've personally never had to use any service, so but I hear the customer service is fantastic too, but I've never had any issues. So check them out too when you get a chance. Our north part of our lease borders gas company property, so you see this ribbon there. I don't know if that was from the loggers or the property owner, but gas company had a pretty decent logging done. You can see a lot of the tops still down here, so this ought to thicken up. I was just coming along here and putting some posted signs on the property line because of this logging road here. They do give out permits to hunt this. Not very many. We stopped and talked to a handful of guys. I think it was during archery season. There was only like 6 of them that had permits. It's a couple hundred acres. And then I think they give a few for gun and things, but it's not open to just anybody, so that kind of helps. But just want to put a friendly reminder that this is private property along this edge, so we don't have any problems. So this is a gas well turnaround. Planted some clover here last year. It's coming back pretty nice, actually. Nice green carpet. So these outer edges I planted with a nice blend. This road comes down here. It's all gravel and loops around. This center area here, I frost seeded some clover last year, but never got around to cutting much. There's actually a few popping up there, surprisingly. I didn't expect much of this, but I'm gonna cut all this and spray it and get something good planted here too. So just empty space, might as well take advantage of it. I've got a couple of trees I'm gonna plant on the edges of this too. Hopefully gas company will leave them alone. But that's the plan for this part. So this lower power line from the drainage up, this is all alfalfa Roundup ready. So all I have to do is go in and hit that with some glyphosate. Whenever spring green up starts coming, stuff starts growing in. We've never done anything with this upper area. Probably turn this into clover. Be a good spot for that. Just need to pick up a little pull behind mower or something for my quad. Don't have much equipment down here, as you guys know that've been following along. Just a ATV and a couple of small sprayers and things, but gets the job done and we'll make it work. So I'll keep you posted. A lot of alfalfa already starting to pop up here. Pretty excited to see that. It's middle of March, so nice to see that's the first green thing coming up. So might be spraying this sooner than we think. See how it comes in. So on the other side of this screening here was the alfalfa. And this side coming down is clover that was in a mix that we planted last, well, that would have been a summer mix that we planted. And that's just coming in beautifully. So great to see that. So this is the east power line that I showed you the alfalfa and the clover on. We got most of this planted last year. Had this screening up in front here to block so you couldn't see it from the road. It's just a gravel road, doesn't get a ton of traffic, but just want to keep prying eyes off. Never got to this side last year, same thing. This year I'd like to put some screening in right here and then maybe do half clover and half buckwheat or something to prep it for the fall for some brassicas and grains or something. But I was looking at a tow behind mower for my quad, so try to keep this maintained. The thatch is a big problem. We ran into that with the no-till last year on the other side, but it worked. The clover's coming up. It just might take a little while. It'd be nice to try to burn it. So I guess we could think about that too. So I'll keep you posted. Well, that's gonna do it for today. I put on about 5 miles, but I think I did just as much work as I did scouting and anything else. So got quite a few things done. Got to work in the morning, so I'm not going to stay too late. Like to drive back in the daylight, and I think we're heading back here this weekend. Dave and I will be back to go over that south piece real good and come up with a plan for some other things. So as always, appreciate you all tuning in. Be sure to catch our audio podcasts. You can find them anywhere you can get a podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Like and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. good things coming. Stay tuned. 2022, we're gonna knock it out of the park like we did last year. So thanks for checking in, and I'll talk to you later.